Senior?
It's been busy.
Yes, it has.
It has been very busy as we re-engage in society coming out of quarantine and doing it slowly. I'll be the first one to admit.
And carefully.
But also carefully. As I was sharing with some comments on Facebook, we cannot allow our guard to be down. And as a commentary to the rest of the state of New Jersey and to the people of the parish, we're letting our guard down. People are not taking this serious, and because of it, the opening has slowed, so people's jobs are in jeopardy. So we are part of that financial mess. We, the people who gather without masks, we, the people who have parties with a large number of young people with no social distancing. We, the people, are preventing other people from going to work because we are not caring about other people. So don't blame the government, don't blame the health profession. We have done this. And if you don't like it, tough.
There's a lot of misinformation out there about, what is
Terrible.
protocol and whether
Terrible.
this is real or if it's being made up, and then the flu killed more people than COVID and whatever. But if you want to come to St. Robert's, then you're going to have to follow the protocols. And we're having a little confusion about what is the proper practice. So some people feel as though a face shield is enough, but that's not correct.
It's a mask.
Yeah.
This will get you into St. Robert's. Anything else will get you sitting in your car and watching the Mass on live stream.
And that is an option. If you don't like what we're requiring, then there is absolutely the option of staying in your car in the air conditioned, and when you're, we'll bring communion out to you. And actually, a little comment on that. We've been having some difficulty in getting communion done quickly and efficiently in the parking lot. So we're going to ask people who are coming into the church to please park towards the back of the parking lot, towards the residence, so that we can keep all of the cars where people are remaining in them for communion to stay up front. Handicap parking will still be there, but we need the closer sections to the church to be for people who are staying in their cars to receive communion. So if you're coming in, park in the back. If you're staying in your car, stay up front. And one more thing, we had somebody, even though we've said on multiple occasions, do not receive communion and then drive off. Somebody did that this week at the 10 o'clock Mass, and our Eucharistic ministers were still in the parking lot, weaving through cars, trying to figure out where the people were. Do not receive and then leave. You are putting our Eucharistic ministers in danger.
And if you hit a Eucharistic minister, trust me, the Lord Jesus, who you just received, is not going to cut you a break. Nor will I cut you a break. This is serious stuff. I can't make it any clearer, and we ask for cooperation. Now, I would say 90% of our people have cooperated, and thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so very much. But there's always that 10% who think that it doesn't pertain to you, and it does. So we ask you, please, to cooperate. Now, not everybody watches these pastoral visits. So we ask you to share that information. And if somebody, wants to hear it from me directly, feel free to give me a call. I'd love to have a conversation with somebody who thinks that we really are making a big deal out of nothing, because we know better.
Yeah, we felt it personally here. Now, Msgr mentioned that we're re-engaging in Parish Life, and we were kind of going this morning over the ways that we have been throughout the pandemic.
Well, in June, we began with first having the church open for private prayer, while we continue to live stream 10 o'clock Mass on Sunday and a weekday Mass Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. In July, towards the end of June, we began our public celebration of Mass. And at that time, we opened it up, I think, for about 50 people.
Yeah, I think we started with 50.
First time was 50 people. By our second weekend, we were able to raise that to 100. And
because the executive order changed, not because we were...
Yeah. And we have kept it at 100. And we will continue to keep it at 100 because that is the minimum. And when I mentioned before about letting our guard down, folks, you know, in some areas they are now going back to 10, and I don't want that to happen for us, you know, so we need to keep our guard open. So in
You also started hearing confessions in
started
June?
in the Repent tent,
Yeah.
and that's nice. Now we are continuing to hear confessions in the Repent tent, although we moved the tent into Dentisi Hall because of the heat, and because our chapel is now open, we opened the movable wall, so our hall and our chapel are now one large space. Starting this Tuesday coming, the Blessed Sacrament will be in exposition in the chapel on the altar while people come to go to confession. And we hope that that will continue to give a prayerful environment to us. We really cannot use our confessionals as yet because of the close quarters. It seems to work better in a much larger space with air circulation. And for the penitent, you know, there's very little air circulation in the tent, but that's all right. I have sins I have to pay for.
It's your own little purgatory.
making up for past due.
Right. So we opened up with confessions, and the church was open. Then we had the 10 o'clock mass, and then July 11th we added the 4:30 on Saturday.
We added the 4:30 on Saturday. I know there's been requests to live stream it. We have just not been able to do that, nor increase the number of liturgical ministers that are needed to celebrate Mass nowadays. And that has been a hindrance. And so as we move forward, the only live stream Mass will be the 10 o'clock.
Well, and then the weekday masses.
And the weekday Masses. And there have been some requests on going back to a daily Mass much earlier. We will see that in the fall and judge it as we move forward. We're being hesitant because the numbers are going up, and people are getting sick again, and people are dying again. And so we just want to be cautious in that.
Yeah. And then the week of July 21st, we began First Holy Communions, and the RCIA received their Easter sacraments, and we're having our last set of communions today, right?
Yes. This year, we divided the classes into their individual class, and we had evening masses on Tuesday and Thursday last week and this week. About, you know, anywhere from 14 to 15 first communicants and their parents and siblings. We apologize that grandparents and godparents couldn't be present, but again, we are taking this very cautiously, and we want to ensure that anybody who walks into church healthy leaves church healthy.
Absolutely. And we don't want to endanger anybody. And so now we've also started doing, we had a couple of convalidations in
We had a
July.
few convalidations, but in August we have weddings.
Yes, I know. But we also started doing baptisms.
We also
in July.
started doing baptisms. Baptisms are done individually, one baby at a time, to ensure, following the directives of the diocese, which are in keeping with the directives of the CDC. Basically, as the celebrant, we do not touch the child. The child is always is always being held by a parent, and yet we are able to do the rituals of the church.
Mm-hmm.
So baptisms, and as you mentioned, the RCIA, the Easter sacraments were celebrated on July 24th,
Mm-hmm.
and I was delegated by Bishop to confirm 8 of the people who were presented for the sacraments. 3 of them were baptized, and we were able to baptize each one with fresh blessed water that was not used for anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And the anointing with chrism was done with a Q-tip, and I think it went very well. Because I have to get into practice, because in the fall we will start looking at dates to confirm our confirmation class.
Yes.
And that will be 116 young people. And so it kind of worked well with the Q-tips.
Yeah, that seemed to work real well. You're gonna need a lot of Q-tips though.
Yes, 116.
In a bigger receptacle. We had a little tray to put them on after they were done, because he did 1 Q-tip per person.
Yeah, 1 Q-tip per person. And then in August, we will begin the memorial masses or the funeral masses for those who died during quarantine and were not able to have mass. In fact, I think it's very appropriate that we begin August 1st with the mass for Grace Fusco, and where we will also remember Carmen and Vincent Fusco. They, along with their sister, Rita Jackson, were the first in our parish to perish from the coronavirus.
Is Rita's funeral later?
Rita's funeral is being held later,
Oh.
and that's a choice of the family. So, but we keep all the victims of the coronavirus in our prayers, as well as all those who have died during this period. And we do have several other masses that have been scheduled because we could not have mass for about 2 months, 2.5 months, 4 months.
I think.
March,
April,
May, June, yeah. So,
We just started in June.
so we've just begun that, and also weddings. We have our first 3 weddings scheduled in August. And of course, each of them, funeral masses, memorial masses, weddings, have the same restrictions as the celebration of Mass, on the weekends. At the moment, only 100 people are allowed, and everyone will be wearing a mask. The one difference, I think, Bishop made the exception that the bride and groom do not have to wear a mask at a wedding. They do not have to wear a mask, but everybody else has to wear a mask. And I have a list of questions from different brides that I have to answer.
Oh. And none of the weddings are going to be masses.
None will be masses. They will all be wedding ceremonies. And really, even those who have moved into 2021 and those who have scheduled 2021, until further notice, the directives, which I believe were all mailed to our couples, but I have to check on that, will be in place. So please don't call and say, will this still be in place in December or next year? I don't know. I really don't know. Pandemics have a history of lasting anywhere from 2 to 3 years. So
yeah, we were looking it up today because we were talking about how some people say that the fact that the flu has killed more than the coronavirus, but it's spread out over 2-3 year period as opposed to like the mass deaths that were occurring in the coronavirus. But pandemics hit more often than we think about.
Yeah, we found out that there was a pandemic in 57 and a pandemic in 68.
Yeah.
And although you weren't around for that,
Really?
I was around for both.
I think this is my first pandemic, I think.
Did
the bird flu count? That didn't really make it here, did it? I mean, not in mass quantities. Anyway.
No, but sometimes the pandemics might be hit harder in other parts of the world.
Yeah.
Although, no matter how many deaths, when somebody dies, their family grieves them, and if they die before their time, and someone will say, well, if they die, then maybe that is their time. That's true, but let's not play Russian roulette.
Mm-hmm. So pandemics happen periodically. They happen. Sometimes they last a while, and we just got to get used to it and just wait and be safe and respect life by respecting one another and wearing our masks and washing our hands and being responsible.
Yes. In fact, I saw a post on Facebook that said, I've washed my hands so often, I think my fans have experienced more alcohol than I ever did.
Yeah.
So we got to keep our sense of humor.
Yes, definitely. All throughout the pandemic, people were still meeting parish groups were still meeting on Zoom, and, we continue to do that, as we re-engage the parish on a larger scale. It's important for you to know that, everything didn't shut down. Just because people weren't allowed in the building doesn't mean that life stopped here, and we continued to minister and have our meetings and stuff like that. So
we're moving forward, and we're trying to move forward as cautious but as responsible as possible. Mm-hmm. And we will continue to reach out. The food drop-off is still is taking place.
And
now you can drop off your food in the gathering area. Also, the need is still very great, and the blessing bag is also collecting, and I believe there's a blessing bag event scheduled here
August 15th.
August 15th in the parking lot.
But you have to sign up. The spots are limited because they are social distancing. So it's on our Facebook page, the link to sign up, and I think they were keeping it to 80 participants. So sign up quick if you want to come.
Yes.
And they'll need stuff for that too. So please, that can be donated in the same area as the food. Just mark it for blessing bag. And even if you don't, if it's like the things that they're requesting, they'll know it's for blessing bag. And just in the gathering area, anytime that the church is open, which in general is 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., give or take. So come in the middle there, somewhere around those times.
Speaking of food and speaking of the need to care for people because of food insecurity, this Sunday the readings are the multiplication of loaves and fishes.
Mm-hmm. And come to all who are thirsty from Isaiah.
Yes.
Yep.
So please know, and our parish has been always very generous. And we're very grateful to the generosity of so many people who might themselves be struggling, and yet they still find the time and the resources to share what they have with others. So we're very gracious, because that is an important element of our faith and our work as church. I've said often, I remember one woman in one of my parishes bringing in these big grocery bags for the food bank, and I thanked her for it, and she looked at me and she said, "Father, don't thank me. This is what we're supposed to do." Mm-hmm. So there's one more question.
Oh.
I know you answered it, but I think we should answer it online.
What?
He descended into hell.
That's our Did You Know in the bulletin this week. So if people want to read the bulletin, they can read the answer, but go ahead.
Well, I read your answer, and it's correct.
I should say so.
Okay.
I took it from the catechism.
But in the East, on Holy Saturday, they have the observance of what they call the howling of hell. When
Harrowing.
When Jesus enters into the land of the dead, and by his resurrection, he has destroyed the control that death and sin have. And he draws out, the East have these wonderful icons of Jesus pulling out Adam and Eve from their grave. And there's Abraham and Sarah and Isaac and Jacob, all these patriarchs and matriarchs of our tradition, who have kept the faith by being righteous with God. He then leads them into the kingdom. Yeah. And so that is how we descended into hell.
And there's an interesting thing that often gets overlooked in the Gospels, where it says that many of the dead appeared to their families in that time.
Yes.
And it's like people just completely miss that. But like when the people were let out of their graves, apparently a whole bunch of them were sighted.
Because they were able to experience the power of Christ's resurrection. I just wanted to share that because your definition was beautiful, and it was a very nice teaching. But I just liked the drama.
No, the Eastern Rite is very interesting.
They really do it up. The West,
We're so like,
I know.
And they're like,
and right about now we need a little more of this.
Some jazz hands.
No, those are praise hands.
Oh, excuse me.
Prayer hands, praise hands.
Jazz hands. Magician hands. All right, so anyway, we just also would like to wish Lisa Clark a happy birthday. Her birthday was on Tuesday.
Yes.
And Father Brian's birthday is on Saturday, so we wish him a happy birthday as well.
And do we have anything else? Frank,
No.
any questions?
No, I've been keeping an eye here. No.
No questions, okay.
So the bulletin is always on our website. There's a little icon there where you can find, not an icon, but it says bulletin on the top right part of the website. So please continue to look there. I try to remember to put it on Facebook, but actually I need that link because
I'll send it to you.
thank you. The one from JP. All right. So anyway, we'll try to get it on Facebook as well. And that's that.
And we'll see you this Sunday, whether it's in church or on YouTube or Facebook. Please know you're in our prayers, and we do miss you. We do miss, and every weekend there's more and more people.
And some different people too, which is
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. So, but you're all in our prayers. God bless.
God bless.